Hello and welcome back to Podcasting is Praxis. I'm David, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm James, my pronouns are they and them.
I'm Jamie, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Rob, mine are he and him.
And I'm Alistair, my pronouns are also he and him.
Shall we start off this podcast by talking, not about Labour's big majority that they so wholeheartedly and deservedly won, but about the losers of that same election who are not at all sore and who, have not at all decided to just spray some bullshit against
we're not talking about dem libs again, are we?
No, we are talking about
Labour.
specifically that piece of shit Jonathan Ashworth.
Rob, I have infinite time to talk about the world's sorest winners.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, he's been fucking all over the shop, whining about how actually the whole campaign against him was one of fear and intimidation, not him silently standing by while fucking genocide is going on in Gaza. And I think he now removed this post. I think because he was starting to get calls from Leicester South's actual independent MP, Shaukat Adam, from his lawyers basically, because the tweets appeared to suggest that Adam's victory was at least in part due to some guy who was like doing pro his campaign's like posts, and that guy was just arrested for like terrorism related charges, and Jonathan Ashworth was just like, that guy, he basically ran the campaign, and that campaign is therefore full of terrorism, and therefore, I've never been so scared in all my life. I mean, he's not the only one. Like, Thangam Debonair was at it. Like, everybody who basically got their ass handed to them by an independent is currently like on a like fucking all-channel howling spree about intimidation and about how everything is so unfair and,
These
Jess
people
Phillips
aren't...
won and still did that.
Yes!
But these people aren't even fucking MPs anymore, and they get more airtime than literally any Green, any independent MP. It's, I mean, like, not surprising in the least, but it's just, stick it on the fucking bill.
Yeah.
Can't believe that crying is the new crying.
Yeah, it's not even proper cry laughing, which is, the British standards. It's just generalised weeping. But yeah, that fucking cunt went on, Ashworth went on Sky News and, pretty much, this is a quote, "The safety of the people of Leicester must always come first." Not expanding on what he meant with that, obviously, because everybody knows what he's trying to say.
Yeah, the safety of people in Leicester, such as me, myself, John Ashworth.
What about the
snake.
safety of my dogs in our eel?
Yes. It's just like... It's like, I remember not that many elections ago, somebody, and I can't remember who it was, told me, when you lose an election in a democracy, you deserve to. You don't look at the electorate and ask them, what were you thinking? You look at yourself and say, what were we doing? But, that doesn't apply anymore.
The horrible cunt Jonathan Ashworth?
No, that was actually
No,
it was actually the new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, speaking right after he won that leadership. It's just, I mean, and also coming in because we talked about his report a couple of weeks ago with St. Kesvani, but noted piece of shit John Woodcock obviously ran to every fucking microphone that would have him, and said that he wanted the new Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, to launch an investigation into candidate intimidation. And, of course, linking it to the shot taken at Trump, hinting darkly that this is also to come unless, quote from The Guardian, Woodcock said he believed that intimidation was increasingly being used as a core electoral strategy to try to either get candidates defeated or bully them into submission. He added that there was a...
has he considered, before he adds fucking anything to it, I'll just sink the cunt now. Has he considered that there's already been 2 assassinations within very recent memory of sitting MPs, and all we've done since then is tack yet further to the right? On a long trajectory of tacking to the right?
We've also tried to remove anonymity from people who are online, so that when Luke Akehurst asks what your CLP is,
he
simply
simply
doesn't
knows.
have to ask your name.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's only fair because, famously the people who did the assassinations, they did it via Twitter. So it seems right to me that we should disarm them, right?
Yeah. Now, John Woodcock then merely added to The Guardian, saying, there is a particular pattern of abuse created by aggressive pro-Palestine activists.
Of course there is.
Just say it with your whole fucking
knew it was
chest,
them.
you piece of shit.
I knew it was them.
Even when it wasn't them.
Yeah.
Yes, it is violent to ask me why I support selling arms to Israel, but it is in fact not violence to sell arms to Israel.
Well, no, it's just good business.
Yeah,
it's capitalism.
just,
Why do you hate capitalism?
Just makes sense.
Aside from all the things capitalism has done to make you hate it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not anti-genocide, Alistair. You're pro-Palestine, and I'm sorry, but that's just not acceptable.
I can do both.
Yeah. it got even funnier, though, because, like, Lindsay Hoyle, the fucking Speaker of the House and also noted piece of shit.
The world's wettest fucking speaker.
Yeah. He waded into this discussion to say that, like, you can actually participate in the political process and, like, stand against people, like against Jonathan Ashworth if, he goes against the wishes of his community. You are allowed to do that, but only politely. This is from a quote from the South Wales Argus. Sir Lindsay Hoyle has challenged critics of MPs to stand against them at the next election, rather than pursue, quote, the buffer boy politics of intimidation.
I'll let Jamie go on to bother boys in a second. They already fucking did this. They did this, and it's apparently a problem. Like, what the fuck?
I know. I invite Lindsay Hoyle to eat my entire fucking arse rather than like employ the bother boy tactics of chatting fucking complete shit in the newspaper.
I mean, like, the thing is, like, there is no placating these people. It does not matter what strategy or tactics, no matter how nicely or politely or whatever you try to engage in good faith with the electoral process. Doing literally anything that is in any way contrary to the aims and goals of the fucking Labour right is violence and will be labelled as such. Fuck you.
And also, you remember, not a few months ago when Lindsay Hoyle himself was subject, at least according to, reports at the time, with bother boy tactics, but this time by the Labour Party when, he threw that vote about Gaza that the SNP had set up, and then all of a sudden it didn't happen because Lindsay Hoyle decided to, because the safety of MPs was more important. Or, he was yelled at for a while by Starmer and his cronies in his office. We can only speculate. But, those kind of tactics are absolutely fine. And just like as a broader point, like I fucking hate this so much. It's like, okay, so what's wrong is like yelling at MPs for supporting a genocide and selling arms to Israel. The actual selling of the arms of Israel is fine. You're not allowed to yell at the Tories for, doing austerity and killing over 100,000 people because that's rude. But actually killing 100,000 people is absolutely fine. It's just like the reason that this is all like kicking off is because they're just like, oh yeah, no, Muslim voters should just do as they're told. And it's not just Muslim voters I know that are like who base their vote on the Gaza thing, but obviously like they're all just hinting darkly at like, ooh, these bad currents in British politics. It's like if this was the fucking BMP and there was some kind of weird vote about racism, then, all the papers would be full of like, heartland safaris about, oh, we must all, now go into the little, into the bother boy pubs to hear what these hardworking sons of the soil, hardworking sons of the blood and soil, I should probably say, have to like, tell us about the state of modern Britain and what it is they want, and we must sympathise with their demands for cutting immigration. But no, Muslims, they're a dangerous minority within the country, yeah, and we need to do something about them. We just can't say it in so many words. Go fuck yourself.
I mean, I've just seen this. In line with what we were just saying, so apparently the Glasgow Green Party asked Glasgow Pride to disclose some of their corporate sponsors, and they had the police called on them.
Seriously?
Apparently so. So
Glasgow Pride have been a problem before, have they not?
Yeah, there's a whole movement in Glasgow called Free Pride, which is essentially they do an entirely different Pride parade because Glasgow Pride is so corporatized. So,
But yeah, this is what what we were saying. You as a political organisation, as the Glasgow Green Party, you've said, hey, who are these guys? And having the literal arm of the state come down upon you for doing so, yeah, like I'm sure that there is a meaningful exchange of ideas occurring when those fucking battering rams smash down the doors of the Green Party.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. That's fucking wild. But yeah, anyway, so that but on the other hand, that does appear to be something that the cops are actually doing. Not that that's actually good. There was apparently there's going to be an episode of Channel 4's Dispatches out on Thursday, but they previewed what they'd found already today, I think in The Independent. Quote, the Metropolitan Police has not identified a single suspect in investigations into neighborhood crimes such as phone and bike theft, burglaries and vehicle crimes in more than 160 areas for the past 3 years.
Well, yeah, because this is a fundamental misunderstanding of what the police are for.
Yeah, but apparently, the dispatchers found a total of 167 areas, but 160 of those were inside London. So the Met just, I don't know, the Met's too busy kettling fucking pro-Palestine protesters, I guess, or, I don't know, beating other people in the head to, again, there was that, it's years old now, I'm trying to remember who, it was a report from some kind of police association itself that basically, the chance of a random, Bobby on the beat walking into a crime and thereby preventing it was literally one in, it would statistically happen once every 100 years or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But now we'll get more police. Why not?
I mean, we've got an expert on the show who can tell us what happens when you bring the crime to the police.
Yeah, that's right. They're not really that keen.
Quote the paper. In one small area around Oxford Circus and Regent Street, there were more than 10,000 thefts from a person over the last 3 years, with more than 99% of them going unsolved.
What? Must suck to be that guy.
Fantastically odd, because a lot of this is just people grabbing your mobile phone and running off with it. But the Met, don't worry, the Met is on the case. Said the Met in response to this upcoming piece of journalism, we are also working with phone firms to design out the ability for phones to be reused and sold on as we seek to dismantle the criminal market that fuels robbery and theft. So, in order to stop the robberies, all we have to do is not, create a better, more equal society. We would just simply have to design phones that cannot be dismantled or possibly be recycled in any way, shape or form. I think that's fine. Because otherwise the Met would have to do their job.
If the cops did what they were sold to the public as, and actually went to the because, people install a fucking live stream camera and GPS laser onto their fucking bikes and phones and shit. And if you follow any of these big techno lasers that says, this has been stolen, please follow me to the hideout of this criminal organisation, they could literally do that and round up thousands of tens, hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of stolen bikes and shit, and actually have fucking suspects. But because, as we know, this is not the job, this is not the actual role of the police. Let's just stick widgets on and doodahs and self-destruct devices into bikes and phones in order to fuck off.
Are you suggesting, Alistair, that we should give the Met a series of algorithmically designed quests that just go on into infinity? That they live in their own open world adventure of go to location, pick up phone, return to phone.
What I'm saying is I'm going to start a company called Acme Co Limited and contract out to the government to get these devices made.
My favourite part of the Met response, though, was their last bit. We encourage people to report crimes as soon as they can, whenever they have been the victim, so officers can attend the scene and investigate swiftly. It's they did report crimes, in that one bit of Regency Street. More than 10,000 crimes were apparently, reported, because otherwise they wouldn't be in your statistics. But you don't solve them, so who gives a shit whether or not you report them or not? I mean, I don't know. I suppose there's that value of getting the crime number. I know we talked about that before, but the cops are just once again, ask yourself why we have these fucking people.
No.
It's that creeping Shariah everyone's so worried about.
So there's one more bit I wanted to cover before we get to tonight's main topic, and that was I have, possibly some good news for a limited amount of teachers in the UK. The UK's largest academy trust, apparently called United Learning, is offering a pretty substantial rise in starting salaries for new teachers. They're going to go up to like £45,000 a year in London and about 30,000 outside London. That's pretty, that's like a 10-15% pay bump or something. That's pretty generous, Well done, you, Academy Trust United Learning.
No
I think
strings attached.
No.
That's right. No strings attached.
There is a small thing though. They would like very much for new teachers to sign up to a much less generous pension scheme than currently exists for teachers.
No strings attached.
Oh, Alistair, you dropped a comma.
Yeah, so basically, like, most teachers currently fall, their pension at least, fall under the what's known as the Teachers' Pension Scheme, or the TPS. They pay between 7.5% and 12% of their monthly income into their pension, and the employers put in almost 29% of the teacher's salary on top. So, like, if a teacher costs like 50,000 or something, the salary is about 36 odd or something, and and that means at the end, like, you as a teacher, like, you may have had shit pay and like a hard career, but like, you have got a pretty good pension to look forward to. It's like one of the last...
A career of 60-hour weeks, 6 days, 7 days a week. Yeah, hell yeah.
Just think of the holidays they get, Alistair. Just think of the holidays.
Yeah, but look, there's a lot wrong with teaching. We talked about it before, but like this pension scheme is basically one of the best left in the country in the way it's like set up, because it means that employers have to put like a lot of money in. But of course, under this new scheme, instead of just having money taken out of your salary and like an employer contribution that makes up your pension, you would get to choose. You can put in like 0, 5, or 10% of your own salary. And then the trust would contribute, quote, at least 10 or 20%, according to Schools Week. So, not 29, but somewhere between 10 and 20. And the money, the money that's now saved by the largest academy trust, United Learning, would go towards bumping pay for teachers on this new scheme. So it's not so much a pay rise, as that like you take your money up front, but then you're probably destitute by the time you reach pension age.
Now, I'm not much of a money man, but my understanding is money is worth different amounts at different times.
Yes.
Yep.
So you could, in theory, turn £1 now into many pounds in the future.
Yes, through the magic of compound interest, for one. It's what wizards do.
You could also have £1 now.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And actually, that is genuinely the way that United Learning is selling this whole thing. Is they were saying like, look, a lot of our staff members are struggling with the cost of like food and housing. So if you have more money now, maybe you don't have to worry so much.
Yeah, like maybe you won't need food and housing in the future, because everything will have been turned into a desolate...
Because AI.
Yeah.
But you repeat yourself.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, like, I have looked at my fucking payslip on more than one occasion. And I've looked at the pension deductions.
Yeah, don't do that. That's
I know. But I've looked at the pension deduction and I've thought, maybe could just take that. Could just fuck this whole thing off. And I don't think there would be no takers for something like this, because I think...
Yeah, I mean, of course there are takers.
Some people will fully just go, do you know what, I'll be dead anyway, I won't get a fucking pension. And they're probably right if they're just...
They're calling it the David School of Education.
I mean, I think I'll get like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years of pension if I'm really fucking lucky before I cark it, so... Like, that's if I even fucking manage to live long enough to stop working.
This just reminds me of the original Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl game. There was a quest line in it where you can find this audio log talking about this stalker's stash, his retirement stash, that is in a really difficult to get to place in the game. And if you finally trek all the way through, find the clues and track it down, you unearth a safe in the most hostile place in the world, you open it, and there's a bottle of vodka, a gun, and a single bullet. And vibes, honestly.
Yeah, that's a
Not even a
plan.
cigarette.
Yeah, but anyway, but David, the part of the reason is that they're offering this new scheme with higher salaries is exactly what you say, because it's not the real cost saving for this Academy Trust is not coming out of this switcheroo that makes them a few bucks, no pension for more money now. What makes them more money is that if more young people choose to do this, then the people currently in retirement, the whole pension fund of the traditional TPS scheme, becomes totally unstable. And if that falls over, well, then maybe the Academy Trust doesn't need to pay out so much anymore, because maybe, they could just stick the government with the bills.
Which is why, despite my maths that says I'll probably be dead and not get to see my fucking pension, it's better that I do keep paying into my pension, because I'm one less person who's fucked it off and made the argument of, we don't really need these, it's fine. So, yeah, it's one of those ones. It's just not.
Yeah, fuck you, got mine is in general not a good strategy. Just
Correct.
as a. Yeah. And if you're wondering, is any of this legal? Because pension and pensions contributions are quite heavily regulated. And it didn't used to be before, where you could offer people no pensions and, for a higher starting wage. Well, that's because the Tories in 2020 made it legal for private schools to withdraw from the teacher pension scheme. But only for new teachers. The old ones can keep it, that classic fuck you of, fucking over the younger generation while locking in the older ones. We have seen this sometime before.
Hello, and thank you for choosing Podcasting as Praxis. Our podcasters are experiencing an unusually high volume of unfunny bits at the moment, so you've been placed in a queue. Your patronage is important to us, and I need to inform you of the great benefits you freeloaders are missing out on by not subscribing on Patreon. A back catalogue of premium episodes, plus 2 bonus episodes every month, ad-free regular episodes, plus you get access to our Discord, which, in addition to being able to harass the Praxis Cast crew with your favourite Star Wars characters, will allow you to listen to all of your favourite cutting room floor moments, such as... and...
Fuck off, Alistair.
Subscribing lets us create more of these hilarious moments, so please do subscribe for just $5 a month on patreon.com/praxiscast. And now, back to the episode.
But yeah, all of this kind of leads us neatly into tonight's main topic. So, this is not going to come as much of a galloping surprise as it did to anyone, but housing in the UK is pretty fucked. It's
looking to my left. Looking to my right.
Well, I'm set, Rob, because I'm not paying into my pension, so it's I've just got the money now.
Yeah, and have you bought a nice house with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's none of it's essentially the UK doesn't build houses. Homelessness is fucking sky high. The planning system is fucked. Pretty much everything is fucked. The prices are so high. Apparently last year, in the last 12 months thereabouts, housing costs for private renters went on average up almost 9% in 1 year, which is way more than any wage rises most people have gotten. So, even if you got more money, the chances are is, you will just have, 10% rent increase over a year on average is insane. That's just fucking madness.
Can I do a public service announcement here? Sorry. So I'm in Scotland, and Scotland has recently instituted new rules if you're on a modern tenancy, whereby there is a rent adjudication service that you can use. My landlord wanted to put my rent up by 12%. And, because Scotland had a thing in place where you could only raise rent by 3% during lockdown. They ended out this year, and my landlord's response was to crank up to the maximum legally allowable in Scotland, 12%. So I appealed to the Rent Adjudication Service, and they have ruled that no, he can only put it up by 2.75%, which was less than he put it up by last time. So, if you're in Scotland, we do actually have something that can help a little bit if you can make the application. If you're not good with paperwork, though, sorry.
and if you are on the new style tenancy. If you've been somewhere for a long time, you can go fuck yourself.
Anyway, that's the brief peek behind the Scott Paul door.
Also, if you're in England, fuck you. Just in general.
Yeah. So and according to the Joseph Rowntree Foundation, there are now more than 1 million low-income private renters who are spending more than half their income on rent, and as a result have to basically skip meals in order to keep paying rent and bills, basically. And we talked about renting a lot before, but I want to talk a bit about like housing and buying houses and building houses in particular. That's because one of the big new things that we were promised by the new Labour government, Rachel Reeves said it again in her first speeches as Chancellor, that they are going to build 1.5 million new homes, which is,
oh, cool. Is that council houses?
The quote there is that it includes affordable and council homes.
Right, so how many of the affordable and council homes are council homes?
A non-zero amount.
Is it as high as that?
Yeah, I mean, there will be one, David, and it'll be like a special build, and it'll look like a big shoe, and we can all live inside that.
and then at the planning stage, it will get scrapped because it's not profitable.
Yeah. There was this ad that I saw on from the Labour Party on Twitter, and I just got me like thinking about.
Oh, is it their election victory range of merch?
No,
limited edition.
A mug that says "Controlling Immigration."
No, the thing. I'll read you out a little bit of what they were saying. It's some really dog shit animations, but like that's nothing we haven't seen before from those people. Quote: In 72 hours, Rachel Reeves did more to get Britain building again than the Tories did in 14 years. Unblocking the planning system means we can build more homes and infrastructure. Labour has restored house building targets to build 1.5 million homes, again including affordable and council homes. So this is one of those things where I'm like, how is that possible? Because like as a quick reminder, a couple of years ago, the Tories pledged to build 300,000 homes a year and like never got remotely close. Mm-hmm. I think the closest they got, we talked about it a long time ago on the pod. I think the closest they got was like 70,000 or something. Like I think that was kind of max where they got.
Yeah,
I mean,
so the Tories said they were going to build 300,000 homes a year, and that was bullshit. But Labour's going to build 1.5 million
over 5 years.
Over 5 years,
over 5 years. So that's
so also 300,000.
Yeah, well, interesting.
Never mind that study after study shows that these fucking private enterprises that build housing just admit as soon as the house prices start to go down, they just fucking down tools until it starts to go back up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And well, they're building them all out of such high quality materials. That's why no one's ever had a problem with a new build house.
No, none whatsoever. So but it is possible. Like they did, like the British government in 1977 actually did build 300,000 homes. They did you can do it if you're the government, but they did.
And if you decide that you want to actually do things.
But they did put a lot of money into it, and they built a lot of council houses in particular. Social housing was the majority of those 300,000.
Yeah, I was going to say I saw a thing saying that the last time that housing more than 300,000 homes were built in a year, more than half of it was council housing, and I think it was around sometime in the mid-70s. So
yeah.
Cool. Considering how many affirmations this Labour government has made to building a non-zero number of council and affordable homes, I'm sure it is going to be anywhere in the region north of 150,000.
Yeah, so like basically she does this speech and I've read it. So like basically the first thing before she gets to the House building, she says essentially she'll give the Bank of England and the Office of Budget Responsibility like a veto over policy, because the most important thing is stability and fiscal rules. And we all know how much the fucking Treasury and the OBR love, you know, spending money on fucking anything, basically. So there are some decent-ish things in there. Although this is one of those things where I don't know. I've heard all the arguments from every side. Like, you know, they want to revise the green belt built on brownfield land, but again, I've heard the Tories say that for I don't know several decades, and that was never done. And they invent this new thing that I want to get into in a moment, which is called grey belt land, which is for fuck's
sake, have they invented another horseshit term, Rob?
No, that's where Keir Starmer comes from.
Yeah, that's why a Habbo Hotel is built.
Wow, that is a reference.
Yeah, I know. They are actually going to do also like one genuinely good thing that I do support is like they're going to bring in compulsory purchase orders. Basically, that means like if a local authority wants to buy land to build property on it, they can like not seize it, but they can buy it at like a fair price, rather than like developers who like snipe new developments, buy land like right before the council does, and then like mark it up to an insane degree. Like they will now get like statutory powers to say, no, you just get like a fair market price and not the insane price that you're demanding. Rob. So that's, you know, like that's Rob, genuinely a good thing.
Are there by any chance a number of councils who are like on the absolute brink of bankruptcy?
Yeah, there are.
I wonder if these two things might have any issues that arise as a result of this situation.
Well, probably not. But just to you know, make sure. Like, let me quote Keir Starmer briefly from an article in The Guardian on March 28th. Yeah, I have to. Keir Starmer has told voters he cannot turn the taps on to fix the crisis in local authority funding when quizzed about how Labour would plug the $4 billion council funding gap at the start of the local election campaign. Quote, I cannot pretend that we could turn the taps on, pretend the damage hasn't been done to the economy. It has, he said. There is no magic money tree that we can waggle the day after the election.
Has this cunt ever said anything in his entire life that wasn't like just a bunch of fucking shitty like euphemisms and metaphors that sounds like a fucking like newspaper headline?
No.
I can't turn the taps on. There's no magic money tree.
How many trees have taps?
You know how it is, Jamie. You've got the fucking tap right there, but unless you put some money in the meter first, it's not going to turn on.
It's a healthy fucking dose of A, incompetence, and B, ideology, because, you know, they don't want to spend the money, and they don't care about the fact that if the government spends money, it gets fucking money back, because that is how literally everything has ever worked since we had money.
Yeah.
No, I think that's fake and gay. It's a national credit card, and we can't spend anything because we like blew it all on fucking like settees from Argos or some shit.
I am the perfect Homo economicus. I'm gonna sell my car to pay off my debt, but now I can't get to work, and that's just an inconvenience I'm gonna have to deal with as I walk 30 miles each way every day.
Homo economicus sounds like another way to say fake and gay.
Like, we just selfishly gave people money during COVID not to, you know, go out and kill your nan. And, you know, like, I think now you fucking selfish pigs just have to pay that back. And I think that's correct.
Yeah, you have to pay it back by living in the street. But not in any street that is anywhere near where anyone else might also be. Ideally, somewhere out in the woods somewhere.
You have to pay it back by going out and killing everyone's nan.
They're calling it Fiscal Purge Day.
Yeah, that's the unspoken rule of Rachel Reeves' fiscal rules.
Yeah. Yeah. For 365 days a year, Britain lives under a strict regime, but on one day, the fiscal rules don't apply. I mean, there was one incredibly fun thing. Like, I mean, these things are not fun, but there was like one incredibly fun bit. Is like during the speech, she kept saying that like as Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner is now basically, you know, she just said, and I've put Angela Rayner in charge of writing the grumpy letters to the mayors and the planning authorities. You know, like clearly Rayner is no longer in charge of these sets of decisions. Even though Rayner is like the minister responsible for housing, like Rachel Reeves has given the speech announcing this shit policy, which is supposed to be Rayner's. It's so funny to get.
I mean, I do find it hard to have. Yeah, I do find it hard to have much sympathy with Angela Rayner after she just completely cozied up to the Starmerites.
J.K. Rowling.
And her like. You've made your horrid bed, and now you gotta lie in it.
It's so fucking funny, and that will continue to be like amusing until they find a way to get rid of her. But like at the end of this, right? So we were talking about the you know, there's going to be mandatory house building targets for the 1.5 million, which I don't know how they work yet, but I assume that means like the councils are going to be set mandatory targets for like you must build X number of new houses, of which a question mark proportion will be affordable and or social. But as we were just talking about, Starmer has also said no, we're not giving councils any new money with which to do it. But then there was one more thing that Reeves also said during the press conference following the speech. Let me quote it. "We need the private sector to build homes. We are not going to be in the business of building those homes directly. We need the construction sector to build the homes." So, if there's a new statutory target for councils to build an X number of new homes per year or over a period of 5, and they're not going to be given any more new money with which to do it, and the private and the government's not in the business of building the homes, so it's up to the private sector. Who's going to do it? It's pretty obvious. It's like it's fucking Barrett Holmes and the other fucking vampires. But like, who's going to order it and who's going to pay Barrett Holmes up in advance? And what I smell, though I don't know yet, is like a whole new generation of like, affordable home PFIs to saddle every council with. You know, not now, mind you. Now the Barrett will pick up the cost, but in 10 years, say, you know, when
2 terms maybe.
Yeah, like after 2 terms or something, like maybe something along those lines. So, like that's the things that have been announced. The mandatory targets, the compulsory purchase orders, like I said, which is pretty good. And like I said, they did this thing with like the green belt, the brownfield land, and the grey belt. And I was like, I have never heard the term grey belt land before. But fortunately, the BBC provided a short explainer. Quote,
Is it Aberdeen city centre?
It's so much better, David. Labour has previously described the grey belt as, quote, poor quality and ugly land, including disused car parks and wasteland.
Oh, Aberdeen city centre.
On parts of protected land called the green belt. So, like, I don't know, yeah, but like in the green belt, so like if there's like an abandoned gas station or like a parking lot or like, you know, something along those lines, something where like concrete has been poured and something is like no longer being used. That means you could like, you can now build on there without having to jump through all the hoops of the actual, you know, like legally defined green belt around London and Manchester and like various parts of the country.
Yeah. Yeah, this giant fucking open space that just kind of on the outskirts of the town that no one ever really goes to or does anything with has been sitting vacant for years. Don't ask why. Don't ask about the chemical factory that used to be there. It's fine now. That's a disused car park. It's not, I repeat, not just a really big fucking weak elephant's foot.
And also, like, think about where those things are usually located, like, in your town and specifically outside your town. Like, an abandoned petrol station is usually, like, by, if not a main road, but like by a decent-sized road where people go either in and out. You know, it's petrol stations are always where there's a lot of traffic because that's how they make their money. So like, yeah, so now you can buy your new build, quote unquote, affordable home. It is next to like the B32 trunk road leading out of Manchester, though. So I hope you really like noise and having your children.
Worth it if it's near a Little Chef.
Yeah. Look forward to 5 years hence when your fucking house ends up like subsiding down into where the tanks were.
Yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, those M25 services with Weatherspoons in them are making a lot more sense.
So, like, since there's no definition yet, because this is like a new like gobbledygook term that they've just come up with to like make it sound like they're doing more. But there's a report out from the real estate's Knight Frank, the estate agents, and they did their own analysis to see like how much of this quote-unquote grey belt land actually exists and where it is. And what they basically came up with was 11,000 different sites, which altogether constitute less than 1% of the surface of all the green belt land. And even if you build like on top of all of those, including all the old paint factories and the petrol stations, all that, you would make up a maximum, at least according to Knight Frank, 200,000 new homes. That spread over, by the way, 11,000 individual sites. So like
that's 20, just less than 20 homes each.
Somewhere between
enjoy.
10 and 20. Yeah, enjoy very much. But don't worry about it. Like you guys were asking before about, are they going to be building social housing? So Labour wants 50% of these sites, the grey belt land, to be social housing.
Oh, yeah, the shittiest ones. Yeah, okay.
The shittiest, cheapest. Chances are most polluted, most exposed to traffic, most furthest removed from services and people and schools and communities. That's where we're going to place the poor people housing.
Okay, but are any of them haunted? Because that, could be a fun adventure for your children.
Look, some people just aspire to living next to the Pulse cocktails on the A12. It's unfathomable to us from podcasting from our ivory tower, but they're out there.
Yeah, I mean,
the house isn't haunted, but the chemical fucking residue will certainly make it feel like it's haunted when the hallucinations kick in.
20 years down the line, it's like your children are just perpetually haunted by visages of little chefs.
To be honest, it's a really good policy if you're coming at it from a Labour right position, because I can't think of a better way to generate new Labour right voters than just instilling lead poisoning from birth.
Yeah. So, like, essentially, what I find the most interesting in all of this situation is, like, even if they do all this stuff, even if they build these 1.5 million houses, which, given like the council mathematics and all this bullshit with the Greyland, I have, to put it mildly,
tying their own hands together. Rachel Reeves being a fucking moron, Keir Starmer being an obstinate moron. Yeah, it's gonna be
Rachel Reeves having a new job of like guarding the bee. It's
the bee.
Basically, the most important thing out of all of this is like, especially I think for us and our listeners, is like, anyone under the age of 40 will simply remain completely and utterly fucked. House prices are at historic highs, which is made worse by high interest rates. So, like, first-time buyers are mostly priced out of the market in the first place. So, less first-time housing, the houses that get built now are not built for people who buy their first home. They're built for people who buy their second home, basically, because there's much more value in those.
There's a shitloads of like 4-bedroom detached houses going up on estates, and like there are no schools, no GPs. There's like a co-op that seems to be closed every 10 minutes.
Yeah, or it's like one of those weird things where, like, I don't know, four individuals, like friends or just random people, like have to bundle their savings, and then everybody gets to like live in one room in that 4-bed house,
Well, we love an HMO.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, this house, like, we can't forget that, like, house price inflation is the result of more than 2 decades worth of deliberate policy. This is maybe the greatest legacy of Margaret Thatcher, is to like create at least one, maybe 2 generations of homeowners and turn them all into, petit bourgeois pricks who have a stake in maintaining, a conservative economy, because that means their housing prices don't go down. And like, unless these 1.5 million homes are actually built and like, in essence, flood the market to such an extent that it would suppress prices, like you crank up the supply to such an amount that like the price has to fall.
It's just not going to happen.
No, because you leave it to the private sector.
Also, considering the fact that fucking Keir Starmer's, main appeal is to this kind of person that has bought a home in like the 2008 crash or before, and is now every 10 minutes is looking on Zoopla to see just how much their investment has increased. And like, considering how fucking narrow that victory actually was, looking at the polls, if house prices start to go down because they were building like double the amount of homes that we have ever built in recent memory, it would be immediately like on the brakes. Oh no, we can't do that because of the fiscal rules.
Yeah, I mean, like 100% nailed on. So like the chain of logic, and this is from Vicky Spratt, who writes for the Eye. She's their housing correspondent. She's really, very good. This is from her newsletter. The way she summarizes like Labour's sort of approach to the very real problem of people not having homes. It goes, the theory, I think, well, she says, and I could see where Labour gets it. The theory goes as follows. The new Labour government's hope appears to be that it can persuade investors that that Britain is now stable and sensible, and that there is a good plan for growth, i.e. because building a lot of houses is very good for the economy because it employs a lot of people, yada, yada, yada. If the economy grows so much from building all the houses, then the borrowing rates for more money can come back down over time because Britain's economy will be a more attractive place for investors. And if the interest rate for like borrowing goes down, then maybe they can build some more houses. But it's all built on like sort of the confidence fairy returning to Britain and not leaving in the next 5 or 10 years. No recessions, no crises. It'll just be smooth sailing down the line.
Yep, it's just going to be growth with no spending. Just growth. Yeah. Just growth. None of the drawbacks of a balance sheet looking sad for 2 minutes, because I don't know what an asset is.
But that literally is a magic money tree when you think about it. Like, you don't need to plant anything, you don't need to tend to anything, it's just the tree, it's there, you can get money from it. No, we won't do any investment, we've got the magic money tree that's going to give us all the money. It's bizarre, it's like the opposite, like the reality matches precisely the opposite of the rhetoric. Wonder why that is.
It is Liz Truss shit.
It is 100% Liz Truss shit. Like, I think 2 weeks ago we talked about like Labour saying, oh yeah, we'll keep free ports and shit.
Yeah. They always fucking become exactly what they say they hate. They're always so loud about the things that they fucking hate. Well, except the left, obviously, that's different. But, like, any time it's, we hate when the Tories do this awful stuff, is because they want to do that awful stuff. Like, it's just, it's unfair that they should get to do it. Why can't we? And this, like, I have not seen them get more mad about anything than fucking Liz Truss. And it's because she basically stole their entire fucking playbook and ran with it. And everyone's seen it was bad, but they've managed to figure out a way now that they can couch it in slightly different words and not appear completely fucking swivel-eyed overdoing it, and that's fine, actually.
Well, I mean, the thing with what I always find so interesting about the whole like Liz Truss madness and that plan of hers to like cut taxes and all that shit, the thing that like made the bond market like basically shit a brick was not the plan itself, is that like she had clearly like cobbled this together over a weekend while offered tits on like 15 bottles of Sauvignon Blanc. So like, it wasn't that like the market doesn't like tax cuts and, supply side economics. It's just that like bond investors, because they tend to hold them for like 10 years, get a little bit spooked when like you turn up on Monday with like literally the back of a napkin and like nobody having done any serious maths behind it. That's the thing that like caused the fucking problems with Liz Truss. It wasn't that she wanted to borrow some money.
Yeah, Labour have short-circuited that by doing no maths whatsoever.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I think you're right for a lot of bond investors, Rob, but I'm not so sure. I think with Liz Truss, and this is relevant to what's going to happen with Labour longer term, I think there was also a lot of bond investors looking at Liz Truss's plan and going, well, hang on. Bond debt is basically dependent on the ability of the sovereign entity to pay, but also on the value of their currency remaining essentially as it is or improving. And we have serious concerns about the long-term viability of, if you want to call it UK PLC, if these cuts are put in place. Well, because there's essentially like real issues when you cut to the bone. It does actually damage the economy. And I think, like, for all we say, oh, we like tax cuts, etc., yeah, but not to the point that they might actually start to impede substantially on their return on investment. And I think that was a considerable factor in it as well, which leads us to Labour quite neatly, because everyone who's at all sensible about this can look at the UK and go, yes, we need like a decade of solid investment in order to essentially rebuild the shit that's been running on fumes for a long, long time now. In order for us to remain a productive economy and to be able to, make anything in this country that's of value. We're getting to the point now where the cupboard really is bare, and you can only ask the poor to kind of suck it up and just squeeze more blood out for so long before they have nothing left to give. And Labour's response to this is, as we've said, nothing.
Well, it's not nothing, James. They have a plan for like, I wanted to get back to like young people for a moment. They do have a plan. Again, this is from Vicky Spratt's newsletter. Labour has got a plan to help first-time buyers. That's good news, right? Because the houses are so expensive. It's the new Freedom to Buy scheme, which is simply an extension.
Fuck off!
Is that like right to work in the US, Rob?
It's simply
the law. The law and all its egalitarianism gives you the freedom to either buy a house or not.
It's simply an extension of like the Sunak government's mortgage guarantee scheme. For they slapped a new label on it. It's not a new thing. It's just an extension of the same thing. But the amazing thing is the following: Labour hopes this will support more than 80,000 young people to buy homes of their own over 5 years.
Oh my Jesus Christ! That's so fucking pathetic. Like
right, okay. Now, I'm not a numbers guy, but that seems like a lot less than the amount of houses that they're building. Whomst are those for, then, I wonder?
Well, there's going to be a certain some proportion of them that'll be social and affordable, and I don't know what affordable means, but I assume that means, a fiver. So
yeah, affordable to whom?
Yeah. Quote again from the newsletter. If 80,000 sounds like a conservative number, given that there are currently nearly 5 million households who rent privately, that is because it is. So I know you're not a numbers guy, David, but what it means is like 16,000 young people a year will be able to like have help in buying the very expensive home at the current market rate. Mm-hmm. It's not designed to bring the prices of the housing market in general down whatsoever. It's just like, I don't know, you have to fill in all your forms in quadruplicate, I assume, and I don't know, I'm guessing be related to Rachel Reeves in order to get access to one of these schemes.
That's like over 40 people a day though, and there can't be that many people really. So no. I think 16,000 homes a year is plenty. Really.
How many people can the UK have, Michael? Surely no more than 12.
Yeah. It's also just like essentially they're saying, look, this train that runs over the poor, we're not going to stop it in any way, shape or form. In fact, it's very imperative that we keep it going. But we'll help a few of you jump on it. It's okay. Not too many of you, though. We don't want to actually like make things too crowded up here and slow the train down. But you like, what is it, 40 people a day? You can come on. You can join the train.
Yeah. I mean, another good question that, like, before we start wrapping this up that I wanted to ask is, like, because there was a good piece in if slightly horrifying piece in The Guardian about this, is like another good question about this is like, okay, so the government, the council, presumably with some kind of PFI contract, gets Barratt Homes to build a new suburb of wherever the hell, under this new and reformed system, also because they have to, because there's now mandatory duty. The important question is, and like we've seen evidence of this in the last few years already, is like, what kind of homes will these end up being? Never mind their price point. Like, what kind of homes are being built? And there was a good piece in The Guardian a couple of days ago. I'll just read you the title and subtitle. I feel sick, couples say new build home turned into disaster valued at £1. A couple's Barratt house.
Well, that sounds like a bargain.
This is one way of doing it, yeah. A couple's Barratt house that surveyors say should be worth about £350,000 has been left almost worthless due to the amount of defects, that were planted during the construction of the house.
Ha.
So some of the problems outlined in the article. 2 days before the couple moved in, hairline cracks started appearing in the floor. The soil pipes broke. It turns out the damp proofing was inadequate. There was water ingress, i.e., water was just running into the house. The screed, which is stuff used to create an even floor surface, was inadequate. The window design was inadequate, and the structural floor beams, and I assume because they have the word structural in them, they're important somehow, were, quote, damaged and corroding.
Sounds like a really bad school report.
I mean, essentially, yes, but like, I mean, this is, you see these things occasionally in like, Twitter. There used to be like a good builder guy or something who kept making these videos of like him just basically just like pulling out Barratt home bricks, like just by the hand because the mortar was so shitty and cheap.
Yeah, there's a whole raft of content creators who are like, I'm a registered surveyor. Watch as I go around all these Barratt homes with protractor and show how all of these fucking walls are somehow at different angles.
Who would win? One whole housing estate versus a bubbly boy.
So that couple got in like a chartered surveyor to do a report. Obviously, this is for them, and they're in litigation. So that surveyor is going to say things, obviously, because whatever. But like, quote, the ground floor would have to be stripped back to its shell stage. Sections of structural walls and floors will have to be removed, and it is likely that further defects, which will require repair, will be identified as the works progress. So, like, I think in the best case scenario that I see with Labour's 1.5 million homes is they won't build 1.5 million ones. Definitely not. They will demand that your council does it, probably at the expense of your last library, either now or 10 years down the line when the PFI costs are kicking in. And the house, however many homes that do end up getting built are built by Barratt or the like and will fall apart like even before the first inspection. And if you've just like desperately sunk the last of your savings and a giant mortgage into it, you will find that you are, either living in a house that falls apart or you are living on the haunted burial ground of the last little chef on the M25. But that's okay because you're in a social house at that point.
The system works.
Don't buy new build. It's not worth it.
Yeah, so like the episode that you guys did with There's Your Problem about the rack, right, is like the reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete about the schools that are falling apart. It's like a lot of those homes were designed post-war, and everybody said at the time, yeah, these are going to fall apart in like 20 or 30 years, but we're not that worried. We're building something like quick and fast now for the post-war generation. And in 20, 30 years, well, obviously we will still have like a quasi-socialist government that builds a lot of houses. We'll build something bigger, neater, and better because we won't be in an emergency situation anymore. But, so like all the stuff that's...
Simply always vote the socialists in, and the plan is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think even if like... Unless you wanted to go like the fun extreme way of, nationalizing Barratt homes, all of which, I think...
if you insist.
I think would be good and fun to do. But like, even if the Labour government was well-willing, and it isn't, there are no easy ways out of this one. And the end result, if you're looking like for us, right? Because I think it's also important to look at like the country that this is, that like the country that has provided this, but also where this is going, and in terms of like a feeding ground for like the future of politics for both like us, but I fear also for people on the far right is like. So the Institute of Fiscal Studies did a big report a while ago, and they found that in 1997, 55% of people aged between 25 and 34 owned their own homes. 20 years later, in 2017, that homeowner level was 35%. In Generation Z, or Z, whatever, that proportion will probably be like even lower. So like if it was 55 in 97, 35 in 2017, I don't think it'll be 15% in 2027, but I reckon it'll be about, I don't know, maybe 20, maybe somewhere between 20 and 25. And like
sub 20, I think, honestly, Rob. Like,
yeah, I
it's
mean,
a compounding thing.
Always bank on the worst possible thing happening.
But like speaking of like material politics, right? The thing that we, as whatever you want to call yourself, as a like stripe of leftists, is like the materiality of this politics is incredible. Like if people don't have houses and are stuck in shitty rental accommodations and they don't get pay rises, like because that's all, you know, not a thing anymore. Like the breeding grounds for either a massive resurgent left, because this is like housing is material. It's literally, you know, it's the Maslow hierarchy of needs. It's like fucking a shelter is pretty, you know, at the base of that fucking particular pyramid. It's like, and then food, because you also won't be able to eat anymore. Like that will either be a genuine material breeding ground for, I don't know, a new left party, something.
Maoism is back, baby.
Quite so. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I mean, there is, if you want to build something now, if you say, you know, if you're disgusted and disappointed by, you know, the last election and the Labour parties, like this as an issue, houses and housing, is like, it's right there. And like, if you're building something, if you want to construct a new party and like attract especially the younger people into it, housing is probably one of your best bets in years going forward. The downside, obviously, to this is Nigel Farage, the Reform Party, and whatever comes behind that, because they will simply bang the drums, because watch them go from, oh, the migrants are staying in luxury hotels to the migrants are stealing your council homes. Because they're already doing that, but sadly, the breeding ground exists for them. That's not horseshoe theory. We have different explanations and different solutions to all of this. But like, I do think that, like, there's only one way out of the British housing market trap, like this fucking disaster that we're living in, and that is to build huge, like, insane amounts of council housing of good quality, not falling apart shithouse Barratt homes, and then rent them out literally at below market rates to fucking de-inflate the rental bubble and de-inflate the housing market. But that goes against literally every current of British capitalism as it exists. But I think it is a massive opening for like the future of politics. Because this is real. Shelter's fucking real, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, Labour aren't even going to do, like, what, you know, arguably the easy stuff, which is to, like, clamp down whatsoever on buy-to-lets, landlords at all, because obviously, what is it, a third of Parliament at last count, although obviously it's changed probably since then, landlords. So, yeah, no, I mean, like, they're obviously not going to do any of that shit, because that might affect someone that matters. So, yeah, it's either do nothing or do nothing. And they're going to probably do nothing.
Well, I mean, they're going to do what they've been doing for the last few years, which is like put out a lot of press releases and like fire chaff into the air and like, you know, so they'll do the Boris Johnson thing and the David Cameron thing of like showing up in hard hats to say, you know, this used to be a little chef parking lot, but now there are 3 social houses. Please ignore the giant trucks whizzing by.
Do not look into the Pulse cocktail windows.
Yeah, exactly.
Turning up in high vis and a hard hat just to yell smoke bomb and then run off.
yeah, that's sort of all I wanted to talk about. Labour's the future of Labour and housing policy. Not looking great.
So bright, I've got to wear shades. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for saving us all, Miss Reeves.
Yeah, well, you need fiscally responsible saving, David.
Oh, I want to die.
Yeah. On that note, should we do comment to commentary?
Oh
Yeah, why
yeah,
not?
please, that'll help.
All right. Just stop the boats. Is that comment or commentary?
Oh, fuck off, Jamie. You're phoning it in now.
Yeah.
These are getting more and more abstract.
Commentary.
Jamie's going to turn up next week just saying the concept of racism.
Yeah, rough. Comment or commentary.
That was a comment in the Express on an article about national insurance.
Yeah, okay.
The reason the British infantry stood in line and faced the enemy without flinching was because they feared their NCOs more than the enemy. Training can be brutal, but it produces good soldiers. Is that comment or commentary?
I'm just imagining that picture, those fucking paras with that picture of Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I think, Jamie, I think you're fucking with me. I think this is from a Warhammer 40k Imperial Guide handbook.
I think this is actually incredibly proven to be wrong by one Tommy Robinson. Commentariat. I don't know. It's a hard one.
Comment even.
Comment.
Yeah, Warhammer 40k. Games
There was a
Workshop.
comment in the Daily Mail on an article about like leaked footage of some like drill sergeant making a guy do push-ups in a muddy puddle or something while like screaming abuse at him.
All right. Written by Jay Cleverly from Braintree.
Yeah. It is fucking sad. Like, I don't know, 30-50% of all our references and in-jokes we can no longer use.
Trump has done something highly unusual. He's picked a presidential candidate who would make a better president than him. Is that comment or commentary?
Oh, fuck.
Commentary. Hands on. They fucking love that guy until like 2 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
This is commentariat for sure.
Yeah, that was Tim Stanley in The Telegraph.
Oh, fucks.
Right, the last one, and I hope you've all prepared your angry domes. There's autistic, and then there's benefits autistic. Is that
Go fuck yourself.
That's got to be commentariat.
Was this sent directly into your DMs and you're just airing beef?
Well, I mean, this podcast is for airing beef. We've gone over this bit.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. Jesus. Oh, God. Yeah, commentary. I hope it isn't, but Jesus, fuck.
That was a comment in the Daily Mail under an article, How to Tell If Your Child is Autistic.
Jesus.
But how do you tell if a benefit's autistic?
I think it's the same thing, actually. I think there's the hidden implication there.
Oh.
But yeah, absolutely fuck that guy.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, more than a little bit.
That's fully bowled me over.
Anyway, that's your lot.
Excellent. Fuck it, I need to go and sit down. More than I'm already sitting down.
Yeah,
You're
lie
going to
down.
have to have a lie down. Before sitting, it's back.
Yeah.
Don't sit on the floor in the angry dome.
Crisscross applesauce in the angry dome.
Oh, well, okay. We have said it before. Someone foolishly said it once, and now we need to keep saying it. We are going up to 2 bonus episodes a month from this month. So those will be out before the end of July. 2 bonus
we had a
episodes.
planning meeting and everything.
We did, yeah.
They're on the spreadsheet now, motherfuckers.
I look forward to the patrons dunking on us effortlessly come August,
Yeah.
but, you know.
Pray, dear
Yeah.
listener, that you do not end up on our spreadsheet.
Patreon.com/PracticeCast, £5 a month, and you can get, from this month, 2 bonus episodes each month.
Yeah.
It will be. It will be good.
You know what? I'm glad we recorded all of those fucking ads where we talk about an extra bonus episode.
Oh yeah, I have to do those fucking things all over again.
We'll just have to put 2 ads in now.
Hope everyone's looking forward to a new ad. Maybe
if we can
Maybe.
be
I
asked.
don't think mine doesn't need changing.
I don't care. I'm going to
I've
make you do another one.
future-proofed mine.
Yeah, you're bulletproof, mate.
Doesn't work like that. Right, okay. On top of that, Twitch streams, we may be streaming this week. I don't know what's happening for sure, but twitch.tv/praxiscast. If we are streaming, it will be from about 7:30 on Thursday. And merch is available, as always, praxiscast.tv.com. Buy yourself a t-shirt.
Yeah. See ya.
That's
Thanks,
us.
bye.
Cheerio.
Bye.
Bye.